Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Comrade R.G. Mugabe, the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Tourism Patron, Amai J.T.R. Mujuru, Honorable Ambassador S.K. Moyo, Senior Minister of State in the Office of the President and Cabinet Ministers here present, Honorable M. Chukukwa, the Minister for Harare Metropolitan Province, Honorable J. Mudenda, Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable E. Madzongwe, President of the Senate, Chief Fortune Charumbira, President of the Chiefs Council, and Chiefs here present, Honorable Members of Parliament, His Worship, the Mayor of the City of Harare, Councillor Manyeni and his team, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and our esteemed guests from the ECTT, European Council on Tourism and Trade, led by Professor Dr. Andon Karagia, senior civil servants, members of the Fourth Estate, both local and international, distinguished guests and delegates, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Comrade R.G. Mugabe, let me thank you upfront for agreeing to grace this occasion and share your time with us this afternoon on the endorsement of Brand Zimbabwe by the ECTT. I'm aware of pressing commitments on your part and the Politburo meeting in session right now, which you have taken leave of to come and be with us, and your desire to go back immediately after again to carry on with that session. So we shall be brief and much more brief than at the UNWTO. But as I mentioned to you a fortnight ago, during a briefing on this ceremony, and the awards being conferred on us today, destination awards can only be received or at least witnessed by the highest office in the land, because there is symbolic victory over our detractors on efforts to reposition us otherwise. Your Excellency, state presidents in themselves represent a pillar in nation branding, and that pillar is people. In a pillar that includes many other pillars, and they include governance, they include investment and immigration, arts, culture and heritage, exports, and of course tourism. But it is the first pillar, Your Excellency, that you symbolize. And that is people. That is the most important. It is people that have been granted authority, Your Excellency, and dominion at the individual and institutional level over our resources. But above all, it is men that God has gifted with the power of vision. Asked what could be worse than being born blind, Helen Keller had this to say, and I quote, "Living life without vision. Vision transcends everything." But then again, Your Excellency, my pastor, Tom Duche, whose wife was singing this beautiful melodious song, Our Zimbabwe, had this counsel to say to me during our preparations for the 20th session UNWTO General Assembly, when at one stage it all seemed lost, and I remember almost crying in your office, Your Excellency, in despair. And he said to me, "Any vision worthy of heaven will experience an attack from hell." Close quote. And you said as much to me, Your Excellency. I raised this issue, Your Excellency, because it is attacks on your person that have symbolized perception attacks on Zimbabwe and its people. It was all in order until you tackled the contentious issue of land in Zimbabwe, in itself grievance number one, together with universal franchise, commonly referred then to as one man, one vote, that led to armed insurrection against the Rhodesians. Land is God's concept of wealth, and hence the entire Old Testament speaks more on God's land inheritance promises through Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, and others. It is indeed God's first order of prosperity, and that vision on total deliverance it was God-inspired on total land deliverance. It was from heaven, hence the attacks. With this realization, Your Excellency, part of the ECTT delegation itinerary took them to a farm nearby belonging to Dr. Gono, at Donington Farm, so they could appreciate that we have gone beyond the acrimony that was so expertly packaged by the global mainstream media that included CNN, Sky, BBC, and others at the height of the land reform program. That we have advanced to the productivity and creativity stage, which should be your vindication going forward. That yes, we can. Yes, we can now feed ourselves. The enemy knew that the most volatile component of the marketplace is not inflation. It is not interest rates and other variables that we quote in modern day parlance when we quote economics. But it is the disruption of the food supply chain. Hence, it took advantage of the transition in land ownership with anticipated but budgeted for low returns to sow seeds of disharmony in our midst, with your vision at the center of it all. The farm visit was therefore meant to make sure that today and in the future, packaging of our agriculture as agrotourism will materially answer this and vindicate you. ECTT have honored Zimbabwe, and me in particular, for this creative ability to tell this and other stories abroad, commencing, Your Excellency, in 2009 with the removal of travel advisories on Zimbabwe, going forward to the assumption of office in the UNWTO Executive Council, leveraging with this seat during our peak of sanctions to gain access to international source markets, hitherto close to us, and to our eventual bidding and successful co-hosting of the UNWTO General Assembly in August last year. That in itself was the last exercise in the global endorsement of Brand Zimbabwe, a platform we successfully leveraged with to tell our true story. We surrender the presidency in session of the UNWTO and the chairmanship of the Commission for Africa next year to Colombia and a yet to be identified country, respectively. This is apart from our international obligations, like the presidency of the Africa Travel Association. So, Your Excellency, members of Cabinet, the Politburo, fellow Zimbabweans, we are clearly in the cockpit of global tourism, and it is our season of being celebrated. Your Excellency, this honor has only been possible, not because of Walter's greatness, and it doesn't matter how great one was born to be. Someone must release you. Someone must release you. It's only great leaders who can inspire others to greatness. You have made this possible first by picking me to serve in this capacity as your tourism minister. And secondly, because of your commitment to the sector, exemplified by your creation of a standalone and dedicated ministry since 2009, and thirdly, your signature appended to the UNWTO Golden Book on Tourism as its 29th signatory, a commitment to support the tourism sector in your country, and of course the support you extended to me and my team during the preparations for the UNWTO General Assembly, deploying your 2IC, the Vice President JTR Ramjuru, our patron, to chair the Interministerial Committee on Preparations. This is how much you wanted, Your Excellency, this project to succeed, and hence the honor today. We thank you so much and are deeply indebted to you both. We promise in return to unleash the full potential of the sector, this sector called tourism, through our white paper on the 5 billion tourism economy by 2018, and an enhanced contribution to GDP from 10 to 15%, soon to be tabled before Cabinet. But having said this, Your Excellency, it is the favor upon me to serve under a First Republic President, a founding father of a nation, that I'm most grateful for. In my extensive travels around the world, I've had an opportunity to interact with colleagues who served under personalities such as President Kaunda, Nyerere, Seseretse Kama, Nelson Mandela, Samora Machel, Kwame Nkrumah, and even across the seas, Tito, and my own in-law, Fidel Castro, collectively founding fathers, and they all spoke of a very unique experience, the wisdom and vision of this generation of leadership. And I quote them. In most cases, they said it was like drinking from the well of Jacob in the Bible. So yours has been an inspirational leadership. Inspirational to the extent that it has dug into the innermost part of my being to find out the very best that lies in there and make it available to myself and others. And the digging is still going on with each interaction. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. And finally, let me acknowledge Team Tourism, Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality, Zimbabwe Council of Tourism, and the ZTA for their support, which has made my deployment at tourism a resourceful and creative one. We are a happy family, Your Excellency. My constituency, Masvingo South, has been very mature, Your Excellency, enduring my lengthy absences due to external travel. And if you think this is not a problem, I remain now, Your Excellency, after the Minister of Tourism for South Africa lost his job in the last reshuffle by President Zuma, the most senior tourism minister in the world. And I want to physically acknowledge them. The leadership structure is with us here to bear witness to this ceremony and hopefully to share it with the larger family back at home. And I have no shame to ask them at all to stand up wherever they may be so that we can just acknowledge this group of people, Masvingo South. Very, you may sit, very solid people ideologically, consistent since 1980. Thank you so much for your faith in me and Baba. Thank you. Please continue to vote us back. The last kiss, of course, is to my wife, Barbara, who you saw her join me to receive the prizes. She and the kids are my source of strength, and I want to continue to plead for their patience and support and inspiration. These prizes that I got today, they are to you, Barbara and the kids.